Hello, hello, my beautiful soul tribe. I am really excited for this week's podcast. I am kind of doing an overview of the Modern Sages Soul Tribe launch. So I can't wait to share more with you. Are you searching? Are you looking for something new, something different? Are you being called to your ancestral roots? The Modern Sages podcast is a tribe of women that believe in exploring beyond the broken constructs of society. We believe in empowering women to embrace the medicine within, all with an open mind, baby. In this week's podcast, I really wanted to touch upon the Modern Sages Soul Tribe, which is a tribe of women who are all like minded, looking to connect, looking to deepen their understanding of their spiritual gifts, looking to connect to one another in a like minded area, really diving in and embracing who it is that we truly are in a safe space. So, when getting started, I offered a space for the launch. And in that direction and in that day, I had four amazing, inspiring women jump on, and they were able to share about how they've been able to connect into the medicine within. So, for those who are new, as we speak about connecting to the medicine within, this is connecting into your sense of true expression. This is bringing in healing for yourself, it's bringing in healing from your ancestors, and not only is it bringing in healing, but it helps you to feel more alive and vibrant and connected to life. And it's your special, unique sauce that we each have that helps us just really navigate, embrace, and thrive in this human journey. And not only that, as we share our medicine, as we deepen it, it gives us a greater space of understanding, but it can also help others to do the same. And that is what we are all about in the Soul Tribe. So, in this podcast, I wanted to put some clips together from the four amazing women who joined and were able to share their story. On top of that, we did amazing and such fun giveaways. So, it was just a really amazing day, and I cannot wait to just have this recap for you so that you can get a feel for what it is to be in the Modern Sages Soul Tribe. We had Amiko, Ashley, Carrie, and Candace join us. And each of them have such a beautiful and unique perspective of their life and the things that really thrived and made them feel alive inside and continue to do each and every day. I feel as though a lot of times healing and embracing your spiritual gifts can be a bit of a foreign concept to many people. And honestly, it's easy for all of us to seek outward validation or to go outside ourselves for those answers. And of course, that's generationally been passed down as a lot of our spiritual gifts were closed off or they were shunned or they were made bad and wrong. We were told that we needed to look towards specific people, specific thought leaders, or priesthood holders, or hierarchy, someone outside of ourself to receive guidance and self understanding and self permission. And really, since 2020, so many have opened up to the space of honoring and owning their voice, honoring and owning their healing journey, their connection to God, whatever that may be for them. And so I just find it beautiful that we all have our own beautiful, unique expression. You know, Amiko really shares how she brought healing into her life and owned the fact that she does have the gifts to be able to help people heal and to heal herself, as her and I partook in shamanic practices and classes together, and really bringing that into the space of being okay to find out our own spiritual beliefs. So, Amiko does share upon that. She shares upon her journey, how she came to her own spiritual gifts and how she's using them and moving forward. We also have Carrie that joins us, and Carrie shares this beautiful analogy about having a greasy energy center or a greasy aura based upon what it is that we're doing or adding or not adding into our life. And she shares how she's been able to navigate her own mental health while embracing it with her children and being able to cope with what it is that she's experiencing here in this physical form. She brings such a light and such a fun sense of humor. We have Ashley is a mother of two who is navigating her husband's passing. And this has really been a space of growth. She's also learned more about her own physical body, about deep soulful wounds. And this has really been a space of launching her into self understanding, self expression. Instead of shutting down and closing down, she's decided to take that into a space that can be healing for her. She's also on a beautiful health journey of weight loss, of emotional eating. And so she shares deeply about her experience there. And then we also have Candace, who is the shaman that I learned under, and she was previously part of the podcast as a host, which we will have her on pretty soon, and I'm so excited about that. But Candace also talks about having your gifts in action. During that time, she was visiting with a family who had a tragic passing, and she was actually on her way back. So her podcast or her video was in a parking lot somewhere, and she just felt the need to show up and jump on and to talk about the purpose of our gifts and using them for the good of others as we felt aligned for ourselves. It was such a beautiful concept, such a beautiful conversation, as well as how she continues to dive deeper into her spiritual self, into her medicine each and every day, which that's the hope, that's the goal, is that this podcast and this soul tribe can really help you be inspired to live a life in your medicine and to look at other people and see what works for them and what maybe will work for you, and to just be open minded to that space because there is so much beauty to be held in that space as long as we are open and willing and participating in that space, that we truly can have such a beautiful opportunity. So I'm going to attach at the end of this podcast different segments from our group, different segments from their conversations, so you can get a little bit of a feel for the Modern Sages Soul Tribe. In the month of October of 2022, we are actually diving deep into ancestors and elements. So we're going to be learning about each of the elements and how our ancestors use those elements for healing. We're going to be walking through a journey connected to diving deeper to your own personal connection to your ancestors while incorporating and exploring that element. And in November, we're going to be diving deeper into our own spiritual gifts and how to hone in on that in a deeper way. So, these are going to be live classes that I will be teaching for those who are involved in the Modern Sages Soul Tribe. So, if this is something that calls to you, if you haven't already joined, there will be a link in the show notes for you to go ahead and join. Without further ado, here are some beautiful clips from our conversations. Me and Amiko met during our shamanic training practices. We had our last gatherings together, and it was so much fun to just get to know Miko and see the beauty that she offers and her beautiful, unique medicine. What led you to really taking the dive to embrace your unique medicine within?
Fast forward, right when COVID happened, me and my best friend did like a 3-month meditation challenge where we like meditated for 10 minutes every day. It actually started for like 1 month, but then we like did it 3 times. So once I like
Wow.
started, like once I started getting into that more and more, like things just started happening. Like, I don't know, like I would have like random like videos on YouTube pop up that was like really interesting, and I'd watch them and like just have more questions, like spiritual wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like came to a point basically like in my meditations where I would start seeing visions and be like, what is going on? Like, what is this? So yeah, like once that started happening, I just like started meeting more people. And then I met Candace, who, is our teacher.
Mhm.
And she basically was like, you're a medicine woman. I'm like, really? Like, okay. And then just like learning the tools that she gave us. And yeah, I think meditation was probably, the biggest like door going into it. But I think I also just had the intention of like, I want to know the truth. Like, show me God, show me the real truth. Right. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I think that so many people go through this unraveling of who they are, of what they believe, and there's no heaviness towards, like people who are really religious or who have
Mhm,
that as their guidepost. It's kind of an expression per each person, per, what works for them. And so
exactly.
you even growing up where you came from, like helped launch you, even though it might have been painful in some ways, and
Mhm.
kind of help launch you into this new aspect. And one thing I love is that God, our spirits, our ancestors support, give us those tools and those tips to like help us navigate our spiritual self.
Like being human and reminding yourself like you're here to have a human experience and to embrace all the emotions, all the feelings, everything, and it's all already perfect how it is. Like you signed up to be here to experience those things, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's duality. Like you can't have, one thing without the other because then you wouldn't know what the one thing is. So it's all just perfectly made how it's supposed to go. And sometimes, we forget that and we're just like too caught up and just being like, oh, like I'm not good enough or like this happened, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you're perfect. But sometimes, sometimes you have to go down like the deep rabbit hole and like that shows you your shadows too, right? In order
Yeah.
to come out the other end to remind yourself again, like, oh no, like everything's good, I'm perfect. And we're the
Absolutely.
way showers for that, to
Yeah.
be a reflection for other people to be inspired to do that too. Like it's funny, like not to like make this like a whole thing, but when I quit my job and I told my higher up person, she was like, wow, like that's really inspiring. And she actually told me like she kind of wanted to quit her job too. And I was just
Mhm.
like, wow, that's crazy. Like maybe you should, like, just kind of like planting seeds in terms of, I mean, I don't want everyone to just like go up and quit their job, but like in terms of just like, go and follow what you feel called to do. So
Yeah. And this is the last thing too with that is I always see that at the end of our life, we are the only ones who ultimately are responsible for what we experience here. And when
yeah.
we look back and we reflect upon our life,
Hmm.
we are the ones who will
Hmm.
experience it and to see it and to be a part of it. Like it's all us.
Yep.
And so we can't make our life decisions based upon other people or
Yep.
wounding or being afraid of other people because ultimately we're the ones who are going to reflect
Exactly.
on our life, learn on
Right.
our life, create on our life. So I'm really excited for you. That's beautiful. So I wanted to just dive in, Carrie. I know that you and I work together a little bit as far as, shamanic teachings. We've been in a lot of different, women gatherings and things like that. So it's always just been fun to connect with. You have done a really great job at embracing, the good and the bad, the messy of life too, which I think is so perfect. So what have you found? Like, what have you found a sense of connection? Like, what have you found that really has helped you open up that medicine within and in a way that you can actually accept it for yourself?
I really, one of the biggest things for me has been meditation, and finding like that connection within and with God. I would say that is the biggest thing that I do every day to really connect with. I feel like you explained it really well as the number three, right? Like, I feel like it's my way of connecting like heaven and earth to like my heart chakra and then earth, or like heaven, me, and earth. And so I love it so much. And like, I think another thing too is remembering that your diet is not just what you eat, right? Like your diet is everything. It's where you're going, what movies you're watching, what music you're listening to, what books you're reading, what podcasts you're listening to, or what you're not doing, right?
Right.
So like getting really real through meditation has helped me like intuitively find the things in my life that I needed to like release or let go of, and help find the things that I feel called to like just bring me higher and make me just feel good and happier, and like I'm just a happier mom and person, and like this
Yeah,
December.
that's an interesting concept too, is like
Mhm.
your diet isn't just your food, but it's also like just as we know, oh, if we go to McDonald's and get a I don't even know what they have there, like a double cheeseburger and a big thing of fries, like your body's not going to feel good after eating it. You're going to feel a little lower, a little more sluggish, a little more greasy, right?
Yeah.
But that's also the same thing too with what you're putting in your body or conversations that you're having. If you're with someone who's constantly nagging or low or who's always making other people wrong or wants to talk bad about people, you're clogging up your channel with that greasy energy. You're going to become more sluggish and slow. And if you're not listening to positive things or things that are going to help evolve you or help you feel more connected, you're going to feel that lack of it as well. That's a perfect example of what you said.
Right. Yes. I think like learning that like my energy can get greasy and feel greasy was just such a key thing for me. And to like learn ways to like get rid of that greasiness has just been life changing for me.
Yeah. So meditation has been a great way of you to kind of reconnect in and see maybe what is greasy or what's not greasy if we're using that term. Is that right?
Right. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's like my time to just like sit with myself. I used to constantly seek others. Like I would really need connection from others to feel that validation. So I'd call my mom or my sister and I'd vent and complain about my husband or my day or a situation with a group of girls, right? When
Yeah.
instead now I feel like okay, I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to like play my music. I'm going to sit and meditate and I'm going to work through this myself in the way that like feels called to like just my highest and greatest good instead of maybe the lenses of other people that I might be going to.
Right. So how
Yeah.
do you find time to meditate? Because you homeschool, you have two kiddos, correct? And you're running the house, you have your own business. So how do you find the time and the energy for meditation?
Yeah, I will say I am not perfect. Like, I definitely don't do it every single day like I should. Not at least maybe like a 20-minute session. But meditation for me can be even just stepping into the bathroom and closing the door and just like taking a breath and shutting everything off of me and then stepping back in, like only 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then coming back into reality of like, oh, okay, everything's going to be okay. So like
Yeah.
when the days that I can't get those like good 20-minuters or like 30-minuters in, I try to do my best to just squeeze as many of those in as I can.
I like that because it's also kind of like drinking water for your body, right? Our body needs water. And so taking that time to just go in and take breaths and just be intentional, calling upon yourself back in is like you drinking water or having a vegetable or a fruit that's going to help nourish your body to help you keep going. And it can be as simple as that, but we make it so complex as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because we tell ourselves like, well, we're just kind of in our emotional state and we don't really I for me anyways, when I'm in my emotional state, it can get very foggy. I get very confused and I get very led by my emotions. And
Hmm.
so to get those reins back, I have to like remove myself and take that breath cuz like you said water makes so much sense. Like I'll go into that bathroom and think when's the last time I breathed? Like actually took a breath to the bottom of my lungs. Oh, it hasn't been for like 5 hours. That's probably a problem. That's probably why I'm all anxious and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this is such a good concept that I haven't really like put together in that space, but it makes total sense. Awesome, awesome. Well, we are live, Ashley.
Ooh.
So, Ash, let's dive in and have you kind of just explain and start with who are you and where are you at this current time in your life?
Okay. Well, so I consider myself a spiritual medicine woman. Like you said, I love to help people in anything like spiritual, any kind of thing going on, grief, wise, people wise. If someone's having a bad day, I just love it. I am a mom of two, as you said. I've been helping them navigate loss of their father for the last 2.5 years, and Um, I also have just recently started doing health coaching because I lost 75 pounds on my own journey, trying to get healthy and make sure I'm there for my children, make myself feel better. Just kind of, I want to live longer. I want to enjoy all that God has to give and spirit has to give in my own get out of this meat suit kind of thing. And, know that I'm bigger than just this.
Yeah.
And I know recently me and you have been doing the shamanism, which has been really helpful in my healing journey. It's kind of got me to realize, like, get my trust up with people and myself. Um, so yeah, that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Kind of where you're at in life and everything like that. So, yeah,
Yep.
it's been fun to watch you grow and to step into this new space of who you are. And of course, it hasn't always been easy, but even watching you on your transformation with weight and everything like that, wouldn't you say that some of it has been navigating the emotional aspect of weight loss as well?
I say a lot of it was I was just so depressed for so long, and you don't realize you're in that depression until you start kind of, like, I was so focused on my children. I wasn't focused on me. I was like, okay, what do they need? How do they what do they get? But um I was eating my emotions. I always, if I saw the candy, I was like, oh, I'm gonna eat this, it makes me feel better. And I didn't realize how much I needed to get out of that little box of saying, okay, food isn't my answer. I need to go and, when I, instead of eating that candy bar, I needed to have that salad, or I need a little bit of that protein instead of the ice cream. So a lot of it, yeah, it was very emotional for me, and I just kept letting all these, like my biggest thing has been learning how to heal for trust. Like, everyone's always left me since I was a child, and emotionally, my spirit was just like, oh, nope, I'm just going to take and eat food, eat food, eat food, and be depressed all the time. And but yeah, since I've lost the weight, I feel much better. I'm happier. I think I've come out, like, I've transformed to this whole new person. I'm happy. I'm excited for life. I actually live to go outside and socialize now. I hated socializing before. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go do this.
Yeah.
Let's learn something new. So yeah, I feel like a lot of it was emotion, and it was food just kind of helped it, which
Yeah.
really didn't help it. I just thought it was.
I think that everyone can really relate to that too, because even myself, like I have noticed that when I am in this space of like moving forward or when I have sessions, I really tend to afterward to want to binge on sugary food or on something that's going to slow my energy down or slow down this heightened sense that I'm in. And I'm noticing that I'm doing that even more, maybe not in the healthiest ways recently. And so, it's acknowledging it and seeing it and then being like, okay, it's time to move forward or it's time to change that pattern.
Very much so.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just being aware of how that affects us and in that way. So I think that's really beautiful in your space. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting journey that you have been on in that way. And I think that navigating that experience of loss or that experience of trust, like trusting people, trusting that others aren't going to leave, how do you feel like you've been able to, you've spotted that as a core wound or a core anchor. What have you kind of done in your space to help bring that to light? Like, it's such a foreign and
So
dark concept sometimes, so how have
it
you
is.
been able to, like, transmute that and, like, bring light into that area to look at with grace?
So that one actually was really scary. I didn't want to. It's easier to hide in a corner and not really address it. But when we started doing the shamanism classes, I knew before I asked you that there was something I needed to fix, and I wasn't sure how to fix it. So I started meditating on it, and I started asking Spirit, what do I need to start healing me? Because I was tired of being sad, depressed, and lonely and untrusting, and I was just tired of feeling this, like, little black hole in my heart. So when I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I need to start doing some shamanism. Can you teach me?" It was, for me, that was the beginning. Like, we went on a couple different journeys, and I think the journey where I had met my mom at the top of the tree, she had given me this.
Yeah, that
It was
was a
like a
beautiful.
crystal. Yeah, that's where, like, I was able to, like, 'cause she was the first one to really wound me and leave at such a young age. That Starting that and seeing that in my journey, kind of just doing the shamanism, healing myself, has really helped with that space. And I've seen, like, we've done a couple different ones, and also meeting my younger self, my inner child. That one was actually huge too, because we got to see the huge dragonfly and the huge butterfly, and it was just kind of like, whoa, I can actually be a child again and trust, and starting fresh in a way. and
Yeah.
learning that's really helped me just to kind of open up and learn to be okay with it all.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Grief doesn't have to be heavy. Grief actually can be a very joyful learning experience where who am I? Who are they? And I also know that when I see someone else now who's grieving, I can be like, okay, I understand what's going on. Let's talk and just listen and be a supportive, ear for somebody and not sit there. And I know grief's a really hard subject for people.
Yeah.
But going through it in this light of it, I know I surprise a lot of people when I'm telling them, oh yeah, we're doing good and this because it's only been 2 years. Oh, it's I see him every day in my day-to-day life and it's become I know he's in a better place. We're in a better place and we're doing good with it. It's helped just make me a happier person, I guess I would say.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think also relating to that too, for those who are listening now or those who will listen, is I feel like there's also grief comes in cycles and there's never an end goal to get to in grief is, you might be doing really well for a few weeks and then all of a sudden you have this day where it feels like everything's spiraling and it's like, I just want you to be here. This sucks. My life is awful. Like there's so many cycles of grief and it's never just one size fits all. And so I just think that what you're saying is so true to that it's like, it's just taking it and navigating it day by day and being really present to when things are going good in that way.
Yes.
And it almost too like what's speaking to me too right now is also, having that fear of being left behind or people leaving you. It almost feels like his passing kind of could also be the ultimate like we all have those lessons that we learn in life and sometimes we want to push them aside or we don't want to deal with it and then they just keep like showing up for us
Oh
to look
yeah.
at is it almost feels like his passing and how everything happened was almost like this bridge of like, okay, Ash, it's time to dive in. It's time to embrace this side of you. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. I really needed to jump into it and start figuring out it's okay to be left behind because that was my biggest fear was him dying and leaving me alone. My question was always, how am I gonna do? Like we were talking about, it, I'm like, I don't know what I'd do if you leave. Like it was a constant. It was like a joke, but it was also a serious joke for us. It's like, okay, if you die, I'm gonna be lost. And he would always be like, okay, if you die before me, we're not gonna make it. And I'd be like, no, if you die before me, I'm gonna be in so much trouble and it
Yeah.
happened and I've learned a lot through it and I actually am surviving more than I thought I would, so it has been an
Yeah.
ultimate lesson for me.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. So we'll also lean into your physical journey too, but for someone who is navigating grief or going through those cycles, what wisdom would you have to offer somebody?
Take it day by day. um I would say honestly, if there's days where it's just like it feels like it's spiraling because I have those and I'm just like I miss him so much and I'll sit there and talk to him. I'll go into my own little space and I always recommend find a corner or a room that you feel safe in, get a picture or maybe something that belongs to them, and just meditate and talk to them. It some days are great and some days are rough, and it's some days you're like, oh, I've got this for months, and then one day, like you said, it hits. So I would honestly just say, just give yourself some grace. Give yourself understand that it's okay to have a bad day. If you have someone you could talk to about it, talk to them. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say just give yourself some grace.
But for those who are joining who don't know, this is Candace. She is a medicine woman, a shaman, an amazing healer. She is a teacher. You've written some books, you've done so many different things. And so I just felt like we wanted to, of course, always have you as part of the Soul Tribe today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. It's so fun. And yeah, I'm on the way back from visiting someone who has experienced a family that's experienced extreme loss. And so I'm in an interesting space right now. I've been really listening into spirit and going where spirit is directing me today. So I wasn't expecting to be getting on live in a parking lot at this time, but this is where I am. And so I'm just under a tree and I'm on the way home. And and just reflecting on this beautiful journey as a healer. And so
Yeah.
I'm just really humbled to be able to be a channel for love and light in people's lives. I mean, this is it's not an easy time to live. It's an exciting time to live in the Aquarian age, and there's so much opportunity and so much information and so much freedom to really explore our truth. But it's also a very challenging time where people are really bombarded by so much information and so much energy.
Right.
And so it can also be really difficult to really be able to really connect with that inner voice and to trust that voice of spirit that is inside of us. And so it's really a time for the healers and the light workers to step up,
Right.
and to be of service and to be available to listen to the call, like that you call listen to the call within. It's so important right now that we trust spirit and that we trust our gifts and that we really self-actualize them and really get out there and help people with these amazing tools that we have. We have them for a reason.
I think that's so beautiful. And, and you're obviously right now in the space in action. You've been helping family navigate emotions and feelings of someone who they're experiencing great devastation with a very sudden passing. And so I love that you're even communicating about, listening to the call within, which is really finding that inner voice, finding that which makes you feel the most alive, which makes you feel healed. But on top of that, those who have been with us this whole day, we've listened to a lot about stepping in, what that looks like, finding navigation in those heavy times. And I feel like you're the perfect person to kind of be closing up this cycle of moving forward, embracing that medicine and actually putting it into action to be a benefit for other people. Yeah. Is when we take that step off, when we move into that space, when we take it to the next level of embracing and sharing our medicine, it helps us integrate it even deeper in ourselves. So we're blessing others, we're blessing ourselves, we're creating a deeper connection. And so I feel like it goes kind of full circle where it's almost like we're being called to share our medicine. We're being called to first embrace our own medicine, to look at that to find the healing, but then it's also like, and it's time to move forward and helping other people as well at this time. The world needs it.
Oh, desperately. Yes, desperately. And living a heart-centered life is so connected to connecting into your gifts of spirit and your intuition, allowing yourself to be really receptive and to listen to the messages that are being sent to you. And that's so important because as you open your heart and you're willing to show up to really listen to what spirit is telling you, you never know where that's going to take you in life.
Oh, absolutely.
And the thing is too, is like, oftentimes I feel like, oh, I'm just a beginner. And so maybe my message may seem very simple, compared to others, and maybe they would be able to bring forth more or whatever. But what I also noticed is that whatever it is, even if it's just super simple, truth is truth, and it's powerful medicine. And that was exactly what that needed, how it needed to be said, or what needed to be felt in that moment for all of the parties involved. So if we can surrender and trust in ourselves, in our heart, and trust into the messages or the connection that we feel into spirit, and know that whatever that is was supposed to be felt exactly that way at that particular time. And maybe down the road, more will be revealed, in some way to yourself or to those around you. But it's trusting that journey, that opening that you experience by really connecting in with your heart and with your spirit and trusting in the journey. It's perfect. Just the way it is. It doesn't need to be different. It doesn't need to look a particular way, So I think that's important, as people are really embracing that in themselves, is like really trusting that journey, that it is exactly the way it's supposed to be right now. If you just make a commitment to show up, that is 99.9% of
It
the
is.
success.
It is.
It's just being willing to show up and listen, you
And
know?
someone Do you feel called to connect to your medicine within? Have you wanted to strengthen your spiritual gifts? Are you looking for ways to incorporate the sacred into your everyday life? Maybe do you want to have like-minded friends in a tribe who can connect with you? Modern Sages Soul Tribe is dedicated to spiritual seekers like yourself who are embracing the medicine within. Now, in this tribe, we are going to be doing moon gatherings, amazing spiritual gift giveaways, connecting to a soul tribe, as well as hosting mystery school classes. If you are feeling called to connect to the Soul Tribe, I will leave a link for you in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to Modern Sages Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us online. Blessings.